This is unbelievable simple.
Oh, he's done it as well. 5 seconds.
A third map for our final match here. The first team that's going to go across to the playoff stages. Launders and Fifth Lauren joining me as always, and we've got Overpass. We get the treat of seeing what Overpass can deliver this time around. Previously was a pretty good map for Luminosity when it came to it, but what we just saw from INTZ earlier today was very impressive. So this could be, again, quite a close duel. I don't think we're going to see another train start.
Yeah, I think we'd be kind of fools to say that this should be a wash at this point.
Yep.
We do know that INTZ prepared specifically for Furia, so that doesn't mean they'll be good against any team. It is overall a weak map for them on paper.
Right.
They might have gotten better at Overpass in general terms over time, which is nice. And some of the stuff they were doing that was specific to Furia was also just good fundamental stuff.
Yeah.
The way that they were seeking out their bathrooms player when they knew that Furia weren't going to play in sites. That's a team agnostic play. I mean, a lot of people do that, right? They're going to be forward aggressive in bathrooms. Every top team has those players. And if they can apply those same fundamentals, I mean, that might make it scary for Luminosity to have that kind of presence, which is important to see D-side Overpass.
Yeah, I mean, we never, again, you're right? Like, we have no idea really how INTZ played their Overpass before heading into this tournament. You know, I feel like their new default's the one that they, I guess, made for Furia. I really hope that that's the new default. I think that they actually had a really good approach initially early on in the game for Overpass. They never really gave up a lot of entry frags, for example, and the times they did, I feel like they actually did have a pretty good reason and pretty good decision-making in picking the other bomb side. We did see some tendencies, we did see some sloppy plays, but I think INTZ overall on the T side actually did a really good job in just playing the map as it should.
As we see with the GG bet odds at the top of your screen, showing you that Luminosity are slightly favored, but not by much. You can use code CHARGE and get 100% a bonus on your account, when you make this bet. If you want to, bet responsibly, bet wisely, and never listen to the desk.
I like that.
Just
that should be
covering
like
your own arse there, really, aren't you? It's like,
I was thinking about all the people that might go in my advice. I'm like, wait, I don't want those tweets.
Definitely not. Oh, and also, by the way, a note on Overpass CT side for Luminosity. This is also another map we could potentially be seeing that double up setup on that CT side. I actually would really like to see that, especially because the map is so, like, a lot of long distance duels. We'll see how they start off. I'm not sure if we're going to see Luminosity on the CT side first or T side, but I am hoping we'll see INTZ start on seat side, actually, so we get to see what Luminosity has got, because we never really saw that on train. They never really got, like, we saw the seat side. It was one of the problems that we had portrayed in the desk before heading into that. But I think that one of the things heading into Overpass here, again, is going to be, I feel like Overpass, while it is a very open map, it is also very execute heavy in most cases of getting these bomb sites. So we'll see how they really counter that. We'll see how they do. And we'll see how INTZ counters it.
We will indeed. As you guys can see at the top, you have been voting on the Strafe app, and Luminosity are being favored after that train performance. Make sure you stay up to date throughout the Burling Minor and Major with the Strafe Esports app. Go and download it on iOS and Android. But we are done on the desk. We are going to Overpass, and we are about to find who is making it to the playoffs. Vince and Vendetta, take it away.
Thank you very much, James. Indeed, it's all down to this, Ven.
Yeah.
The twists, the turns, all have led us to Overpass.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen one showcasing out of INTZ on Overpass today, but I feel like we can't necessarily put too much stock into anything that we know, whether it's map statistics or recent form, what have you, because we've seen, obviously, two very different sides of Luminosity. We've seen the strong suit or the strong side of it that got them into, obviously, the lead on Mirage, and then following that up with the just decimation of INTZ on Train. We don't know, like, if they've actually practiced Overpass. Are they coming into this with pretty much a 3-map map pool because they have had so limited time? Like, there's so many unanswered questions that we can't know about when it comes to Luminosity. All we know is that when they come to a comfortable pick for themselves, they look really good.
Yeah, it's one of the interesting dynamics that Cash being removed and Vertigo coming in had. It had an impact on seeing more Nuke played, on seeing some of these more peripheral maps starting to be played a lot more.
Yeah.
And so you come into an event like this, and there is an element of question marks as to, floating Vertigo, for example. But
absolutely,
when it comes to Overpass, as you say, we've already seen what INTZ are capable of on this map. They've effectively got to just forget about that last map, pretend it never happened, pretend it never existed.
Yeah.
We're down to a best of one at this stage. Everything's been wiped clean. Win this map, you take the whole thing.
Yeah. The problem here is that when you look at the series as a whole versus Luminosity, they've not had a lot of success with pistol rounds. And so if you're looking from a perspective of best of one, right? So losing both pistols usually ends in a loss and a best of one, even with the new money changes and whatnot. But there's not a whole lot to really hang your hat on if you're INTZ, right? You had to really scrap back to get the win on Mirage, right? And I think there's fair opportunities to say that Luminosity could have closed that out.
Yeah.
And now you're going into overpass, even though we had a pretty solid showing versus Furia. A lot of that was based off of the fact that you know what Furia was doing. You had a ton of information on them. You even alluded to that in the winner's interview with Sue. The fact that, we knew what they were doing. They were leading heavy. They're over-rotating a whole lot. You don't have this kind of information on Luminosity. That's impossible to have because they've changed literally everything up, just prior to coming here.
Yeah, they fully counter-stratted Furia, effectively.
Yeah.
And on the other side of the coin, though, Luminosity didn't get a chance to watch that game. They were playing at the same time.
Yeah.
So some of those strats could still be relevant and applicable to this game.
That is very true. And again, if Luminosity by accident thinks like, I like how Fury plays CT side on overpass, that could be a bit of an issue. And again, you got to give INTZ a lot of credit for how they played on their CT side. Again, you can't necessarily work that heavily off of anti-stratting at that stage unless there's very evident tells, which most of the top teams don't really have anymore on their T sides. It was mainly off of just solid team play, working off each other, having crossfires, and being able to trade. And they did that really well on the side of KNG and Co. So that's something that they can work with going into this one. I'm just really curious to see what we're going to be offered up by Luminosity. I'm kind of hoping that this is a map that isn't completely just removed from the map pool, that they haven't really put a thought into it so far. You would have imagined that they would have left it in the veto if they're just completely gone on it. So we'll see. I'm pretty excited though, but I'm liking more the form we're seeing out of the Luminosity players more so than what we're seeing from INTZ.
Oh, definitely. We said after that first map, look, Phelps can't do it alone.
No, he had a fair few friends with him this time.
Exactly. Steel, in particular, was
super solid.
Some huge rounds.
I think Nekus has been good on both maps.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think we started to see some shimmers of hope of Henny having a solid matchup as well once he got in towards the CT setup train. So maybe he can transfer that going into overpass as well.
Well, the third map has started off with a bang for KNG. Good news for INTZ. Need to keep it going forward, though. We've seen these kind of picks slip away. Nekis with the Glock is going to capitalize, but Cello on the sweep. They weren't checking connect up, and that'll be to their detriment. But the kills are going back and forth. A 3-on-3. Still plenty of time as the landslide of Frank just came in very quickly. Phelps now going to take the advantage for Luminosity for the first time in the round.
Yeah, with that as well, they're going to get a lot of real estate up towards that A-bomb site. Yell is making a rotation, but already been smoked out. So unless he's going to dive, this means a pretty safe bomb plant for Luminosity. Phelps already tucked up next to Yell. Oh, God. It's just, Yell has not had the best of times when it comes to timing, has he?
No, he's trying to stall for Zand to get into position, who is making a move round through short, but as soon as Yell dies, Zand is left in no man's land, and that is going to be the turnaround. KNG started the round so well with that frag.
Yeah, and then wanted a little bit more, potentially getting a little bit greedy instead of falling back on the site, but again, with an opening, you should be pretty happy with how that pans out for you. I mean, Cello is able to chime in as well. You have multiple opportunities where they have a man advantage and they could potentially run away with it. But then Phelps showed up. And that really just ended up, being the end of the round as well. Finds the 2 with the Glock, picks up a USP, finds the perfect timing on Yell, and then just easily executes Zand here as he comes around the corner towards the bomb site. And I mean, there's no real doubt in, I think, anyone's mind when you have to think about who's been the player to watch on the side of Luminosity so far. It's been Phelps.
Certainly has. 32 kills in the first game we casted back on Dust 2. Only one SMG, though, Vendetta. It's quite interesting. Normally you'd have 2 or 3 of them picked up, but just the one Mac 10.
I'm really liking the approach, so this is the equivalent of going long on Dust 2. You get so much surface space to work with, and if you have rifles, you're just putting yourself in a really good position to win out any sort of duels.
Especially against full USPs.
Yep. Once you get close on the site as well.
To a windshield. I'm surprised they even got one kill, to be completely honest.
Phelps just diving in. Oh, they managed actually to grab the rifle as well
Yes,
at the
it was
very end.
Mac 10 that fell, so they got all 4 rifles, 2 gills, 2 AKs.
That's not bad at all.
With the full save, there are options for INTZ.
This is a, well, not so fun situation to be in, right? Because you can opt in for the buy here and basically struggle with utility, and you can see that's what they've opted to do. KNG on the glass cannon op. You rely so heavily on finding something with this. They could not, you know, scrape anything together on train when they went for similar buys. I mean, even on Mirage, they had a rough start due to a buy like this, right? If you don't get immediate success, you struggle for a foreseeable future.
With this lack of utility, aggression is the key for Zand. He's already moved up close on long. He is pretty much alone, though. Cello, the closest player, and he's way back towards short side of A on the flower bed.
Big question here is whether or not Steel actually checks that corner, because he obviously has to be aware of the fact that the angle he held is basically meant to find anyone straddling in towards the bomb side. He doesn't know that he hasn't covered off long the entire time, but he's not.
Realizes no second player was coming and wants to make sure he shuts him down before his teammates get overran on A. Cello did stand his ground for 1 kill. So the advantage in favor of INTZ. But post-plant and nades in favor of Luminosity. Still have the player up on long, which is Zand. As they try and clump together and push up on the dumpster. This is where crossfire is going to be a very real issue for INTZ to deal with. Zand going to be able to get 1. He gets traded out instantly. Where's the revenge kill coming from? Bolt's going to get sprayed out. INTZ, they don't have a kit. Is there enough time?
Ooh, yeah, that could get really dicey. Ill's quick to find the bomb at the very least, and this should be fine.
Yeah, they got it. Another couple seconds, though. That would have been dicey.
Yeah. I mean, again, all it takes is Yell not to get that kill. He survives with 3 HP. If he goes down, that's round over. KNG is too far away to actually find it. Big round for INTZ there, but valiant effort from Luminosity to fight back into it, considering the start they had to the round.
It's at the cost of multiple weapons, though, Vendetta, so they're certainly not out of the woods just yet. And Luminosity know it. They're going straight back in with a buy.
Phelps again on ZZ. I mean, he was able to do a lot with it on train. All fair, but... Oh, KNG. Nade smoke, man. Hell of a drug. Clouds KNG's vision and off down. So Phelps started out the round with the ZZ. Now he's got an op for him. Boost coming in as well, but there's nothing to be found really on the side of INTZ. Bolt's being pushed out into Monster. Yell really getting caught out there.
I think he had a nade out, flashbang. He was looking towards the floor to try and make his surface area as small as possible.
He's lucky not to die in that situation.
And nearly gets picked off. 41 health separates him and his demise. Only 1 smoke left with just under 1 minute to play with. Luminosity going to be congregating just outside of Monster. 2 players there to greet them in the form of Destiny and Yell. Going to be a flash through momentarily from Steel. All the players are here, so they don't have any kind of 2-dimensional hit. It's going to be very 1-dimensional, just trying to bang the front door down. And Yell has ran into a roadblock. There's so many bullets firing their way into Monster. And Luminosity members are dropping left, right, and center. They do have the advantage still, INTZ, but not for much longer. Phelps has dealt with Yell up on the barrels. Finished him off after he got tagged up so heavily earlier on. Zand puts the bullet between the eyes of Phelps, and Cello's going to finish off the round.
Damn, Yell doing so much work with an exposed position that they knew about and half HP. If he's not able to find those multi-kills, that's the side overrun. Very likely Luminosity extending their lead. Instead, we're back to even numbers. 2-2. And the investment from Luminosity to try to punish INTZ really doesn't pan out. Still, it's not like they're, I guess, in a great spot, economically speaking, on the CT side here. Pistols can do a lot of damage.
Well, again, they had to replenish a bunch of those guns. They're going to go in for the fast play, the rush. And they have been dismantled. Only the one kill.
Yep. Very well held. So we'll see what Luminosity can come up with once they get weapons in their hands once more. But at least good to see that the cohesion between the CT side is still the same as it was in their Furia matchup, right? You still have crossfires working for yourself. You still play off each other. Right there, there's just perfect synergy between the players to mop that up pretty easily. No op in the hands of the T side, but Blind Yell is caught out. Going to be able to punish him. Also certainly going to be able to find Cello.
I can't believe that Yell got a kill out of that.
Yeah, no, you'd expect him to just go down pretty swiftly.
After that earlier round 2, this guy he's already gone through 2 of his 9 lives, it would seem. That being said, it doesn't really help the collective effort of INTZ as they find themselves a player behind.
Destiny got into that funky position to hold down Monster. He's going to be able to spot the foot, at least, of Phelps. Phelps is just an immediate kill if he shows himself. And
It's the second one. That flashbang completely destroys him, though. You could see he was waiting for multiple players to push him. He didn't want to give his position away too early. Zan now going to try and hold on by himself, but there's multiple angles to deal with. And he can't get it done.
Well, multiple angles, and now multiple people for KNG to find, and likelihood of him attempting to do this is not great. We'll hold on to that op coming into round number 7. Also has got full utility and Fuse Kit as well. And then, so a bit of a back and forth to start. I think if you're Luminosity, you have to feel pretty good about that. We're going to always keep the CT side economy pretty honest. Always giving yourself, or keeping yourself within a chance of being able to reset them, send them back to an eco, have a bit of a spurt. Just work from there on out. Then again, still a lot of question marks about how Luminosity's CT side is going to pan out, if they're going to have, I guess, cohesion issues or not.
Sure, but at the same time, as you can see there, that Luminosity are the favorites from GG.bet. Understandably, I'd say, after that train performance.
Yeah, they've been consistent about it as well. I think Luminosity was favored for Mirage as well, and I mean, they definitely had their chances to win that out too.
I was going to say that if you take into consideration if this map on the first half stays relatively even, that's going to be a very good result for Luminosity.
Yeah.
Typically, you're looking at 5 or 6 rounds to be in a decent position on overpass.
Right now, they're on track at least.
So they've gone heavy in on double AWPs here, INTZ, leaving them quite bare elsewhere in terms of grenades. Only the one, pardon me, 2 kits on the two AWPers, interestingly enough.
We need to get in there, pretty much, if the bomb ever goes down. We did see them having a fair bit of proficiency with this, though, versus Furia. Again, long extended areas where you can definitely use the op to its full potential. Right now, though, playing so far back, they've given Luminosity a ton of space to work with. And Luminosity haven't really had to use that much utility either. Kind of read up on the situation to understand that they've gotten far forward with not having to sacrifice a whole lot. So they could set up for an extremely strong execute with what they've got going for them right now.
Cello was so good in this very position earlier, though. We're casting him against Furia, and he has been laid to rest. Phelps opening up business onto the A side. KNG missing that shot. Could be disappointed he didn't connect. It could have gave them a way back into this. As it stands, they're going to have to pull back and save. Luminosity continue to turn the screws and apply the pressure.
Loosening things up. Phelps definitely doesn't want him to get away with it. KNG's aware. I like that move, though, from Phelps. Even though your economy as a T-side is not completely set in stone, you're going to win the round. You're going to get a nice little check in the mail once you get started on the next round. And you know that this has been as much of a full investment from INTZ as you're ever going to get, right? Double ops, that's going to leave a lasting mark on you. So if you're just able to find even one player in this scenario, it's a win. It's not even something you have to consider. The rest of them having a lot more of a conservative approach. And I'm actually a little bit disappointed by that. I mean, we saw it on Mirage as well. Eventually, that double op setup came back to kind of haunt them as well. The fact that they were allowing INTZ to save up so much money, then they get into a double up setup, it actually starts working out for them. They grab a fair few rounds and get a respectable first half score off of it. Simply because they weren't punished as much as they probably should have been.
Looks a bit like a keyhole at first, that little angle. Maybe that's where the CTs need to unlock and get aggressive through short side. I mean, overpass, one of the reasons I absolutely love this map from a watching, casting, playing perspective is it allows the CTs to play aggressively too. Both teams can play aggro. Connector control is very important, short control is. We haven't really seen INTZ play that aggressively through short. We haven't really seen them take control over connector that often.
No, they seem to be, I guess, content with spamming through the wooden planks and hoping to do some damage and waiting for an execute. And, I mean, again, you can tell that Luminosity was so used to not really running into any sort of resistance initially that they could get so far up on A without having thrown a single nade. That's dicey as all hell. Ooh, Destiny.
I thought he had a double kill.
Yeah. Instead, it's going to be, well, Luminosity to get away with that. Make it a triple. Phelps, yet again, off to a hot start on a map.
That'll be a save. 2 AWPs, don't want to throw these weapons away.
This is also a bit of an issue. As long as you hold on to these 2 AWPs, you're going to be extremely limited in terms of what kind of retakes you can have.
I'm a little bit surprised that they actually didn't stall that plant, because you can see that Henny's moving up long. They had plenty of time left. They could have stalled it to allow Henny to get up towards CT spawn and then go for the plant, so he's in a quick rotation spot to take these AWPs away.
Yep.
You'll see teams do that now and again when they know that the remaining players have really high value weapons and want to take them away.
No, for sure. At least this time around, they've gotten, well, the idea in the head that they want to go chasing, and I think it's perfectly fine. Again, there's no real reason for you to hold on to weapons, but the guys who rotated around early on A just took about 2 centuries to make that rotation. They do find Kenji. I feel like that should have been around where they find both players regardless. Luminosity just a little bit hesitant to get started with the hunt.
But we saw that earlier as well. I think it was Mirage, right?
Yeah, we just didn't want to chase after them.
They had like $11,000 across the board.
Yeah, and there's no reason. And, you know, that led to, you know, saved up led to them being able to purchase a second one. They get a double up setup. Then they actually start winning rounds on their CT side. And that's mainly because you've allowed them to do so. Like at the time, yes, there's definitely a case to be made for conserving your own economy, but...
Well, almost deja vu from the round gone by. Destiny gets a lineup in Monster and dies. And the rest of his team follows suit. Zand heroically stands his ground, but not for very long.
It's turning ugly pretty quickly. Again, it's the full investment as well on the side of INTZ.
You'd think a timeout's on the horizon, right? Like, how can we change things up? What do we need to iron out before this gets too far gone? And again, I'd like to see some aggression from INTZ. Take the fight to Luminosity. Yeah. Take them off their comfort zone. Because right now, Luminosity are dictating the pace of every single one of these rounds.
With the quick B pushes, it's a bit hard to do anything about that. I think we've seen, I guess, 2 aggressive peaks out of Destiny, and he's had 2 chances to actually get multiple kills. It's, you know, luck hasn't gone his way in the same sense, but yeah, no, I mean, I think that's the only thing you can do in terms of aggression towards Monster, because that's where the majority of Luminosity have basically thrown their quick B pushes through. Because you're not going to get too much out of actually pushing down water. Maybe you find a 1 straggler who's holding off any sort of rotation, but then having to play a retake through a smoke on short is pretty tough to do. But yeah, the second the game starts slowing down, you need to be in a forward position. If you're INTZ, at least over towards the A area, restrooms, all that kind of stuff. Basically put it into the head of Luminosity that you're not allowed to actually move into this area unless you've used a significant amount of utility.
Yeah, unless you've taken significant time and utility to check all the angles. But they're going to do the same again because they feel completely confident that it's going to go the same way. They have conceded the first kill. There's some aggression. That's what I'm talking about. Zand going to get the SMG frag onto Phelps, but...
This is literally 5 players on INTZ over on the B bomb site. and it's still not working out.
Yeah.
To be fair, again,
they're pistols.
Yeah, eco round.
Yeah. So here we go. Here's going to be a buy. Are we going to have a tactical timeout called? It doesn't look like it.
But that was very Luminosity, or I said Luminosity-esque. That was very Immortals-esque by Luminosity. Because one of the things that they used to do back in the day when Cobble was still in the map pool is straight up just rush B. And, I mean, most of the time it would work. So what would they do as a follow-up? They would rush B. All right, so now you rush B 6 times in a row. Surely people are not going to expect another rush B.
Rush B.
Exactly. And then that was literally the mentality of Immortals for such a long time on Cobble, and it was so efficient because they were so good at it. It's like that perfected the way of pushing onto a site, not getting bogged down on the plateau area, just getting out there and just creating chaos. It's a nightmare to play against. I mean, it got to the point, I mean, because they played this way in officials as well, like, I know many players have talked about how it was, like, how they didn't want to practice versus Immortals because they play that way in practice too, which is impossible for anyone else, you know, playing against them to actually work with. Like, you're not getting valuable practice out of a team rushing B 15 times in a row. Not in the same fashion. So, it's funny, but, like, seeing Luminosity just go B over and over again, rushes 3 times in a row here, I don't know, might be summoning their old stomping grounds.
It's like a game of chicken. Like, when the Luminosity going to blink?
Yeah, so far they're eyes wide open.
And surprise, surprise, we're having another rush out B. It's a little bit stalled this time, and it's not completely together. So, INTZ said, nah, this is our ground now. That's the bomb dropped out as well. Have to retrieve this the hard way. Molotovs and flashes being expended onto the site. Entry from Bolts connects the headshot. They're lining up though, and Yell nearly had a triple spray down. A lot of damage inflicted to Steel, and Henny's all that remains, but not for much longer.
Oh, the staggered push definitely didn't pan out, so maybe they're going to go back to a straight rush B. You never know.
We tried to slow it down a little bit, didn't work. Rush B.
And I mean, to be fair, there's far too many teams who get into their own head. It's like, oh, wow, this strat has been working so well for the last 5 rounds. We better change it up because now we're going to see an adaptation from the opponent. Don't actually do that unless they've, you know, shown clear signs that they're getting closer to that solution or done something to actually make you change it. Well, Cello does a little bit of damage onto Henny with the nade. Tempo has been slowed down significantly on the side of Luminosity. There's not even that many players around B anymore. Gone back to a bit of a default setup. Gained water control, underpass control. Largely actually due to the fact that INTZ is playing so passively all around the map. You said you wanted to see some aggression, right? We're not really being given that just yet. We do have KNG peering out over towards Long, but that's about as aggressive any of the players on the CT side have been so far.
But Vendetta, they've got the moral victory. Luminosity have blinked.
That is true.
They haven't rushed B this round.
They've fended it off.
Smashed it.
We'll see if there's if it was just a tidal wave, like something looming, might be a bigger wave right behind, and right there, Henny posted up. It's going to give a lot more real estate as well to Necky's. Like, they had no idea that he was so close to Restroom, so his rotation time, or the CT side rotation, could be a little bit slower off the back that they don't expect anyone to be that high up.
Cello's taking the initiative after his teammate went down. Does have another teammate just behind him as well, and they're doing a phenomenal job of holding this. Zan with 2. Henny now 1 on 3. With 28 health remaining, not going to happen. INTZ, again, showing that they are going to battle to the bitter end.
Really are. No reason to bow out now. Obviously, this map decides who goes through to the playoffs here at the minor. I mean, what a story that would be for Luminosity, again, coming in as a bit of a last chance team in many ways, taking the spot of Lazarus, who couldn't field the team due to various lineup changes. Now they're potentially looking at an early playoff. Now, finally seeing a bit of a change up here. You'd like to see that.
Here we go. Like to see a player push short at the same time because Cello's completely alone. Was that a jumping headshot?
Yes, it was.
Oh, get it out the game.
There we have it. Neke is close and personal. Find the trade onto Cello. So underpass control gained. Question is whether or not they want to move forward with it. It seems like they're backing out for the time being, setting up in more of a default fashion. Question is if they're going to move towards B or towards the restroom area. Right now, it seems like the pilgrimage has taken its way towards B. Again, not the most utility on the side of Luminosity. They have two smokes and 3 flashes. No Molotovs, which can be pretty dicey once you get into this B bomb side. There's so many like small areas that you want to close out. Yeah. Toxic barrels obviously being one of them, or just like the edges of the pillar, so you know there's a limited angle. They can't run around.
Yeah, the water ramp as well is a big one.
Yep, for sure. Neke is looking straight into the sun.
Ouch.
It's promptly blinded as well. Still going to make his way up there as, well, they've actually fallen back, yeah. Yell finds one through the smoke, and KNG is rearing his head with the up from higher. At least he was.
Oh, shot by Henny. Turning up the heat onto INTZ. Yell. He's had some rough maps, but he's performing very well in this one. 11 and 6 with 102 ADR, but he's not backing himself.
No. He might try to get the op, though, on the side of higher, but
changing his avenue of aggression, but he's made so much noise on his endeavor that really didn't give himself much chance.
I thought he was actually giving up on it once he rotated around, and I think that would have been perfectly okay as well if you can get the op, hold that on to the next round, etc. Obviously, you would have to do that walking. Otherwise, Steel is just going to relay that information to Henny. But yeah, deciding to go for the late fight. Here we see Henny just doing what he can to keep them in this.
He's always been the kind of AWPer that has so much flair about him.
Yep.
Always goes for these extravagant flick shots.
He very much has been, again, like, you have the Draken meme, right? With the 30-degree angle. I feel like the originator of that would have been someone like Henny, Michael, those guys, who are just, you know, highlight machines. Because when they do stuff, it oftentimes look crazy.
And we see when the machinery's in operation, it's smooth and it's certainly sexy CS, but when it's not, you get a performance like that Mirage.
Cello. He had the shadow to work with there for such a long time as well, and still kind of fumbles it all. Yell's been tagged up too. Heavy rotation though. Destiny's already behind them, so this is Luminosity on a bit of a timer. Great flash.
The flash destroyed Zand. MP9 at that range could have been a real thorn in the side, but it's Yell and it's KNG firing off their sniper rifles. That grenade
not killing him?
What? I was sure that was going to kill Yell.
CSGO grenades.
It did like 1 damage. How? How
Got
was that a thing?
stuck in like one of the like middle parts of Optimus, I guess.
Just went into the nether realm and disappeared, I guess.
Yeah. As most of my CSGO grenades do.
Of course, when it's me, 50 damage. Lands in my pocket, of course.
Yeah. Somehow ignores armor. It's just like, well, how did that happen?
Love to see it.
Well, INTZ, they scrap back here for 6th round. They might make it 8-7. That would be a pretty big get, because it felt like Luminosity were in pretty sturdy control over this half for the longest of time. Now, final buy, not looking too hot, and well, so is the outcome of it. Yell and KNG. 4 frags between them. Yell really getting into it in this game. He's had a slow start, but he's managed to peak at the right time, to put it mildly.
This is absolutely his best performance at the minor so far. Hands down. There you go. Fittingly, he ends it with a 4K. And we will be moving through into the second half, 8-7, which was surprising considering, again, that Luminosity, they had that map by the scruff of the neck, and they didn't quite concede. Oh, they didn't convert, I should say, as many rounds as they could have.
Flashbacks to Mirage?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. And we'll see if that actually continues on once we get back from a short break.
This best of 3 comes down to this next half of Counter-Strike. On overpass, 8-7 is the scoreline, and Luminosity letting a pretty big lead slip, I think it's safe to say.
Yeah, very reminiscent of what we saw in map 1. They started off in a hot fashion on Mirage as well, getting a pretty significant lead where it gradually slips out of their control. And once again, it's double ops doing them in. I think it's safe to say that Yell's had his best showing so far of the minor here in this first half of overpass. 17-7, his current scoreline, not too shabby at all. And he's going to look to continue that form going further. And this is something, I mean, I kind of questioned it when we saw them struggling on train as well. The fact that he never went to the off. He is a former primary opper when he used to play in Luminosity. And we know that he can be very, very skilled with it. So if nothing else is working with rifles and your strategies are not panning out, why not give it a go, right? Might be easier on the CT side, but nonetheless, definitely gave INTZ the boost they needed here. Now we're going to see how well thought out their T side is going to be again in their Furia matchup to start off the day. They said themselves they had a lot of strategies and a lot of info they could work off of. That's not the case here versus this Luminosity lineup.
See which way the pistol goes. Could bear so much fruit for Luminosity if they can convert this on the CT side, really step themselves up onto a great foundation. Bit of utility for INTZ here. Smokes being deployed with some flashbangs and a Molotov onto the site, but it's not really deterring Henny that much. He does rattle off a few shots before the Molotov spreads, and now Destiny going to take that opportunity to move into the gap that's now been opened up. KNG up close on the back with a Glock. This is where the Glock really does shine. More bullets. Landing the headshot onto Henny, but Nekis from the side. No one was watching KNG's back, and Nekis has got another one. There's going to be some question marks here, some questions answered and asked between the players, and Luminosity have got the round done. I'm really curious as to know what happened there in terms of the crossfire.
Yeah, I think KNG has the exact same question. They had everything locked down on the side of Luminosity, right? Like, or well, for INTZ, right? Like, they had the bomb site. They had the initial smokes and Molotovs to clear out the bomb site. They had solid positioning. KNG had pretty much boxed in people towards bank, the majority of the Luminosity retake. And then he just gets shafted by the fact that nobody's actually covering his back. And you had a player on Optimus the entire time. That is that is pretty heartbreaking. I mean, we saw them lose a 1v2 on that very bomb site as well in their matchup versus Furia, which seemed to be down due to, you know, miscommunication or just not getting a correct read on the situation. That seemed very much to be the similar kind of issue.
And that also involved KNG.
And I think Destiny was the one who's playing Car, who was the second player. So, a bit of an iffy start, because the execute itself from INTZ was really, really good. You can tell how it worked to perfection. They got the bomb site without any sort of issues. And you kind of expected them to win out from that point on. Now, though, they at least managed to gather another gun.
2 assault rifles. INTZ, sorry.
Yeah. Yell without armor. He's going to drop that off his cello. As a result, makes sense. I can imagine there's a few, no, not many things that are worse than having to deal with a Krieg spray if you're getting punched as well, or aim punched as well. There we go. There's the Colt picked up on Yell.
KNG.
Oh, if Henny finds the right timing.
I was about to say, nearly spotted Henny. And it is going to be a tilting moment. He's still here in bathroom, so he's cordoning off. One angle of aggression on the terrorists. They're going to have to funnel their way in with only 25 seconds to spare. Need some entries desperately from somewhere. Not going to be forthcoming from Yell nor Cello.
Wow. Everything like worked out perfectly for Luminosity in that round. Really did. I mean, sure, you lose out one weapon early on, but when you actually move up on or closer to the bomb site, Henny finding the perfect time to drop KNG, so there's no smoke close up by long for you to kind of explode out from. In addition to that, you have the Molotov that you put down that actually stops the smoke that they wanted to put down for bank, so there's still a gap for anyone on the CT side to peer through.
So pistols, the order of play. INTZ, oh, that grenade just chunked KNG and Zand hard.
I think we said for, well, Neki's taking a fair bit of damage too. Spray coming in, and Zand has been able to wander past. He's going to find Bolt, so I mean, if we had questions about what was going on the side of INTZ, or INTZ, same can be said for Luminosity in that scenario. Still, all kind of works out for the time being. Yell left alone, 50 HP, and an MP9. Oh, Henny actually runs out of bullets. All right.
HP though, the dream.
Yeah, that it's a bit of a tall order. Neki's is on low HP though.
I mean, if Yell can separate this into 2 separate 1v1s, there is a chance. It's fleeting, but there is.
Right now, he has the potential to have an avenue towards that B bomb site, though. Neki's is so far forward. I'm not even sure if he's going to actually hear the door from that distance. I don't think he is. Yeah, he definitely would have reacted to it. So, Yell actually now going into the only potential opening where Neki's can see him.
Neki's isn't watching this side, though. Oh, no, he is.
Oh, the timing is...
Rip.
Yell is not at the best of time with timing so far in this series, and Neki's is going to take full advantage. So instead of getting a bomb plant there and for themselves, it's going to end up being another round on the board for Luminosity, and no additional money for the T side here to work with. They should still be able to get a decent enough buy-in, but all those small things do add up over the course of the game. As we can see, KNG, no armor once again on the op.
I don't believe that Molotov connected. I think it landed a bit too high.
Done that once before as well.
Steel's not going to get punished. Now the push comes in.
Oh.
And his attention elsewhere. Really should have had Phelps watching his back. I'm a bit surprised he changed direction, because had he have kept his eyes over on the ramp, he could have had 2.
Maybe a little bit of doubt creeping in. Nonetheless, though, it's a man advantage for Luminosity. They're looking primed to get another round on the board here. Still decent utility on the side of Zand and Cello at least. They have a Molotov for Toxic if they want, also for Water. So enough to actually set up for an execute here, and pretty heavy short presence on the side of Luminosity.
KNG gonna check the angle. He tries to, but Nekis has him dead to rights. It's up to Bolt. Zand is gonna deal the fatal blow. He's looking to squash this defense where it stands. It's now up to Cello to pick up the slack. Had a great Mirage performance, went eerily quiet on train. 30 seconds does afford him the chance to now push up through Graffiti. Now he's thrown a smoke onto short to try and fake them out as if he's making a move through. This could get him the kill onto Phelps, who's not anticipating this play whatsoever. But on the way up to A, his footsteps will be heard from Henny, who goes back in again. He's going to connect that headshot as well. A real game of cat and mouse, and he has bamboozled Luminosity multiple times. It's going to be a bomb plant. This is now in the realms of possibility. He's got some utility for himself, but as does Nekis.
Question is, how long is Cello going to expect anyone to come from this position before he shifts his focus?
A real awkward round here then for Cello.
Smoke still on Nekis though, so he could smoke off the bomb. Oh, he's not going to expect this at all. And Cello somehow wins out the round. My oh my. That's quite the clutch. And yeah, the cat and mouse game with Henny there doing the min, but solid play from Cello. Smoked down onto the lower platform to bait out Phelps initially, and just really outplayed everyone on the side of Luminosity in that round.
Yeah, I love the idea of going up through Graffiti, and just because you know that if you try and get the plant down on B, maybe you get the bomb planted. As soon as you come off that, you're going to have to worry about Heaven, Short, Connector.
And they're all close in on you, yeah.
Yeah, and if you aim at one and you focus fire on one, you're going to get sideswiped from somewhere else.
Yep.
So take the initiative, try and roll the dice, try and actually make a play out of nothing.
He very much did that.
It's great to see that level of confidence and clarity of mind in a clutch, because a lot of players will kind of get caught up in the moment a little bit too much, doubt themselves, indecision creeps in. He seemed like he had the right idea. There was a really awkward moment, though, when Henny was switching weapons. It could have gone horribly wrong then.
Because it seemed like he had the same idea as well. It's like, I'm going to do this, fake it out. Everyone's going to be, you know, juked into, into oblivion. Didn't expect Henny to be there at the time. But it does work out. Steal, forward positioning with the op. He's actually the only one really purchased up, and he's going to die. KNG really trying to bait out that shot.
That position really has a sell by date, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, that time expires so quickly. You need to go for that peak, and if it doesn't work, just back away. I guess, you know, you're in a round where you've just got an op, so why not? Throw caution to the wind.
Might be the case. Yell is so far up. This is what they did a lot of the time versus Fury as well. Obviously, a bit of a different scenario. They did it on weapon rounds, not necessarily when they know Luminosity are on an eco. Sand's about to find one. Just bolts down. Op still intact on Phelps, but he hasn't really been put into a position where he can do a whole lot with this. Bomb's going to make it to the site as well. All right, then, Phelps.
How is this even in the realms of possibility? How have Luminosity brought this back to a 3-on-3? Phelps now with the AWP is going to find Cello. Oh, he just turns around as the smoke clears. But that actually could completely bait Destiny into a false sense of security. Now that Cello's
just like, what?
Yeah, he's completely confused. USP goes in on Yell. A 1v1. Oh, and then he gets the kill, battles through the aim punch. That is a round that should never go to Luminosity.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing they brought into that round was an op, and they make it work. Phelps finds 2 kills.
That is the back-breaking moment.
Oh, that is rough. Updated odds from GG.bet kind of reflect that as well. 3.81 for INTZ to pick up the map, and therefore the series, 1.23 for Luminosity. And if you're going to win out those rounds, then it's understandable. Man. There's been a fair few of these on overpass for INTZ.
I feel like those odds were definitely collected before what we just witnessed. Otherwise, they'd be quite a bit different.
Well, now it's only going to get worse, right? That's heartbreaking because this has happened a fair few times to the same team, right? On the same map where it's just them messing up. Obviously, yeah, sure, fair play to Luminosity for making the most out of the situation, but oh, you're not meant to lose those rounds. The fact that Henny wins out that spray battle towards the end there, he doesn't have armor, right?
Yeah,
he has to deal with aim punch.
Through the aim punch, and he had, what, a Galil against an AK as well, I think?
So it's just, yeah. No, I think it was a Krieg even. So something that's, you know, the spray pattern is pretty wild.
Well, a brutal round for sure. INTZ, they're trying to battle back with aggression. See if they can impose their will onto Luminosity. So good so far. And now they're going to be looking to push in with the Orc. Steel perched up on the top of the site, going to use that smoke to his advantage.
Well, his timer ran out, though, so he's only good for 1 kill. Means INTZ still heavily favored to pick up this round, 4v2. No bomb just won't down just yet. And no real utility on the side of Luminosity to prevent that from happening either. They're taking so long. This is giving Phelps an opportunity. Oh, is he going to hear the rotation? He thinks it's a play for A. Well, Yell is about to have the most successful A fake in a long while. Still, though, so patient. You can see bomb tucked away by Monster still. Oh.
Hell of a shot by Zand.
Definitely.
That fake really wasn't required after all. That's the kind of play they were doing against Furia over and over again. It was working so well, but Luminosity a little bit more disciplined in terms of their rotations.
Bomb's going to go down, though. This puts Luminosity in an awkward spot. Henny obviously has a fair bit of cash left over because he was the one to clutch out that previous round win that Luminosity had. But outside of that, again, the reinvestment that had to be made on the side of Luminosity, it drained their funds. Now getting reset immediately. And he's just going to do his best to stay alive. Very likely that he's going to be able to do so as well. There's only really Yell anywhere nearby, and he's over towards long, so he's going to need to rush in towards restroom if he's going to find anything at all. And he actually does that as well. And Henny, oh, I should be able to escape here. He even nets himself a kill.
Does feel like a bit of a drop in the bucket, though, in terms of their endeavors for this round, because it's only Henny that has any funds. Everybody else is flat out broke. He has about $7,000, though. Could drop some pistols, perhaps.
And it's definitely an opportunity. Just don't do anything crazy at this stage, right? Like, you don't want to see him buying an op for Phelps and, you know, having 2 ops and 3 pistols, that kind of thing.
When you have a 3-round cushion, yeah, like it doesn't seem like it's necessary.
Yeah, just play it conservatively in this scenario. You do have, as you said, a cushion to work up, so you're going to have plenty of buys to really close this out for you. It's all about not getting into your own head.
I love how animated their coach gets, man. Like when they're clutching, he's by far the loudest person.
Absolutely.
Really tries to rally the troops as well. Just pacing back and forward. Really curious what he's writing, though. Constantly see him jotting down little things.
Yeah, after every round, he notes something. I'm not sure if it's just like, yell, sick, 4K, or it's just like, I don't know.
They did force buy. They did exactly what you said.
I kind of, well, I don't kind of hate it. I hate it. Why have you done that?
You actually called it. Like, don't drop an AWP. That's exactly what happens.
And this is the weird thing, right? Because Luminosity on the first half were so conservative with their economy in terms of when they went hunting and everything, when they have a much better reasoning for doing so. You could deny 2 ops on the side of INTZ, and you don't really lose that much, right? Still opt in for it. Henry's at least going to find the first kill. And it would just be too typical if they actually win it with this kind of a buy. We'll see what happens. So far, only I guess the leftover op from previous round coming into play. And this is the op that INTZ knows about. Henny saved an op that's established information already. The issue is when they cross over towards that B bomb site where Phelps is currently hanging out. What they're going to do with that. So late smoke from Monster as well. Nice timing there. See if INTZ actually waits this out, because at that stage, time is starting to work against you pretty heavily.
Time becoming an enemy itself right now. INTZ gonna be forcing their way in, but they're not able to throw any grenades alongside it. They've only got smoke left. Bolt and his Deagle doing work. Now they're starting to capitalize. There's Cello on the side from Nekis, who was focusing on Monster. And they're not really in a position to stop this bomb plant either. They don't have a kit. No more grenades on the utility belts.
Hold on to these weapons, or just don't. Well.
What?
Duck and weave.
Straight up neo'd that bullet.
Yep. And he's going to have to go on a bit of a run. Already, though, you can see KNG being proactive about shutting down retreat paths for Henny, and Henny's really tucked himself into a corner. KNG's not going to move forward. He wants to hold on to that op. It's not like there's plenty of money on the side of INTZ.
Yeah, indeed. The finances aren't particularly great for either team.
Oh, luckily for INTZ, though, there's nothing really you can reinvest in with what Luminosity are coming into in this round. About 2K on everyone. So you're going to, well, I guess, pretty much redo what you just did. Have to rely heavily on Henny's op to get anything done, and just don't waste your money on buying an extra op. I think even in that situation, dropping a Colt will be better than getting a second op, depending on like what kind of position you want to put himself in. Because initially, Phelps was playing far back, and then he decided to move close towards Monster once smoke started dropping down, but not in a necessarily beneficial position.
Scary thing for INTZ is, if you cast your mind back, it was USPs and an AWP that cost them so dearly before.
Yeah.
It started the ball rolling against them. They cannot take anything for granted. They've got to check these corners, but they're getting there pretty fast. Nekis is going to push through this smoke. Why the hell not? You've just got a USP, and he finds KNG. Not able to get his hands on the AWP. Information gathered, though. He saw everybody darting towards the B side. 3 players strong, a Luminosity through short. But their weapon in the hands of Henny is in heaven, not joining them alongside the short push.
Yeah, Cello's also being able to find Phelps as he moves in through short barrel. Right now, I mean, yeah, you just try to protect Henny, make sure that he stays alive going into the next round. There's no real reason, actually, for Henny to stay around here. You already have 1 player posted up in restrooms, so he can have cleared out at least some space for you. Yeah, seems like everyone's ducked out and they're not going to go hunting. Bolts. Just accepting his fate, I guess.
Just embracing it.
Yeah. Well then, 11 rounds to 12. Luminosity still on the lead, but slowly losing grip of this game. It's going to be a rebuy, but again, as a kind of a like following error or like a bit of an avalanche effect of that strange force buy with the double ops, they don't have all the utility in the world. Yeah, they have smokes, but Molotovs, etc., things that could be complete or very vital for any sort of site take or retake, what have you. Defense is not there for them.
Jesus, these flashbangs just all landing in Nekis' face. Can't catch a break. He wanted to peek Monster, but there's like 3 flashes bounced off his face.
Yeah, pretty hard denied, and then he has some follow-up HEs as well to do him just extra damage to him. Well, now the INTZ is still pretty committed over towards this B-bomb site. And what you wanted to see out of the CT side, right, in the first half was some sort of aggression. That's not been the case either. Okay. That's a jumping headshot. Steel's going to be able to find a double kill, though, so man advantage with Luminosity, at least for a little time. Phelps and Bolts combine as well. That leaves KNG. Not been a part of the round so far. Now he's got a bomb to retrieve.
I think, fortunately, just to get some sanity back, it wasn't a jumping headshot purely off the basis that Zan got an assist on Destiny, so I think he shot through the guy that was jumping to get the kill. I just want to...
It looked bad. Like,
yeah,
exactly.
It
looked really...
We've seen some pretty crazy stuff today, so...
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past them, right, at this stage.
Remember that Phelps double deagle?
Jesus. Yeah, it's been a lot of crazy stuff going on. Definitely bringing it their all as we have another pause. That's also like a pretty cool change-up. I mean, we see certain regions that just, I don't know, haven't been told that the timeout rule exists. So you kind of just fly by in matches without any sort of real adjustments being made. Here with these Brazilian sides, we've seen so many timeouts. Like, they want to talk things through again and again and again, just to make sure that they have everything that, you know, like on the right track. They want to make sure that they have everything understood, everyone's on the same page as they move forward. And I think that's really important. Not enough teams really utilize that extra time allotted to you to just clear your heads and get a good grip of what's going on.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so much on the line, you know. You're playing for your potential spot at a major. It's super close. This is the last map of the best of 3 to secure your spot in a playoff position.
And it's such a big deal as well, considering the fact that whoever's coming back from the lower bracket here is going to be 2 teams that were, you know, assumed favorites. You know, it doesn't matter if it's United or Furia. Both of those teams are not something you want to face off in an elimination game. Being able to secure your spot already would have been massive. Again, it's B. And again, it's Bolts.
Yeah. Oh, that nade.
On dodges the damage at least. Bomb's going to go down.
Yeah, well, that nade could have done quite a chunk of damage. KNG is going to get Steel, who was wrapping around the back, but there's another player here. It's Phelps.
Oh, Yell knows.
Dropping to his doom. Yell with the SG. And that should be the round to follow. Their 2 flanking aces up the sleeve have been dealt with. Henny going to perforate Yell with the AWP shot, but that's all they can realistically do. They're going to have to back off. So we're going to beat 1 round deficit, 13-12. The tactical timeout has paid off.
It did. It seems like both of these teams finding a lot of success over towards the B-bomb site. Where they want to go, and well, repurchase is going to be possible. I'm assuming Henny's going to drop for Steel, so he can get full utility. That would make the most sense, at least. There we go. Phelps actually opting in for a glass cannon op. That has me surprised. I mean, fair, he's been playing exceptionally well with the ops so far today. But just having the utility, and again, with how much contact we're seeing out of INTZ, and it's not necessarily telegraphed stuff, you're not finding too many opportunities to get pickoffs. So just having the possibility to spray, you know, a bunch of people down coming through, whether it's monster, short, what have you, feels like that would or should be higher of a priority.
I feel like maybe that purchase is based off spawn, because I think Phelps has the best spawn for a mid-peak, at least from what I saw there. Now, I'm not sure if it's actually him carrying the AWP in that picture, or if it's the other AWPer.
Well, if it's Henny, yeah.
Yeah.
Could be.
But if it's just a case of the best spawn,
then it makes a lot more sense, for sure. The only scary thing at that stage is the fact that he doesn't have armor, right?
Exactly.
So
that's
the HEs is going to be a massive issue for him.
And it is a pretty often naded position for that very reason.
It's pretty much just like a standard thing you do. It doesn't matter if they've shown no presence there the entire game. You still throw out those nades. And yeah, it was Henny over towards the A-long area. So I guess, well, Phelps has gotten into a bit of a different position here on short. And I like actually this more out of him than what he did the last time when they had the force buy, because then he just put himself in a pretty inactive position for the longest of time. Now he's being a lot more proactive with how he's aiming. Oh, they're going to blow out the door. Just miss out on the 3 players sneaking upstairs. But if Phelps gets a wider angle here, he can still find someone.
They had some solid ideas. It just didn't quite pay off.
Yeah.
But now they need to realize, hold on, short A is completely barren of presence for CTs. Henny's on long. They're going to need someone to traverse back over on the A side, and that's exactly what's happening.
Look at Nekis, too, though. He's getting pretty far forward here in underpass. He's going to be in a prime position to, well, basically go for a bit of a backstab. Henny's found one. It's KNG down. Oh, the off not panning out for Phelps. Wrong place, wrong time.
That's his life gone as well. It's been deemed forfeit. Destiny, 1-on-4 with just 14 HP remaining. Gets the first, but the bomb's not under his control. Ooh. There's a smoke in his eyes. This is almost as difficult as it gets. Beautiful headshot onto Bolts, forcing him out with a Molotov.
It's the start.
There's another smoke, and there we have it. It was only delaying the inevitable.
Luminosity getting that one step closer. Now then. Luminosity actually surviving with 3 players as well is pretty significant. Or no, actually ended up being 2, didn't it? Destiny just doing some work. So yeah, actually economy still pretty limited on the side of Luminosity in that sense. That's why you're seeing Nekis with an MP9. Yet again, an AWP being dropped over for Phelps. So they're heavily committed to this. And it isn't by nades. And it's not off a spawn. He's going to go aggressively short again. We'll see if they have the same setup as well with the door being blown up. Nekis does have an HE on him.
These are the kind of adaptions that we didn't see INTZ do on their CT side, which we were crying out for. But the early nade damage, significant. Ooh. Henny nearly gets found. 2 kills in quick succession will give INTZ a chance to jump on top of the A site. They've got smokes as well to deploy on bank and dumpster.
Nekis?
Yell onto Nekis, who should have really been getting that kill.
Isn't that the second time he stopped shooting at someone because he figures he's got the kill? I think it's been yelled both times, because he did it on train 2.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, well, that's definitely thrown the round for a bit of a loop.
Smoke fades, and Cello has been put down. Bolt's going to have to do a lot more work. Phelps is helping him out, but there's the headshot from Zand. A pistol round is going to yield so much in return, and the economy, by the way, Luminosity was rough. They could be broken.
They could be, absolutely. And again, the investment into double ops is not panning out for them at all. Phelps has not had any sort of impact with it. And again, keep in mind, he's been one of their leading fraggers. He's been kind of the guys keeping the ship afloat for a lot of the time here for Luminosity. And now you're sacking your entire economy for him to get an op that he's not having impact with. And yeah, it's a pistol round. Oh, man. If you're going to drop the ball like this, Luminosity, at the very end of it, now they've had 2 rounds that have been really head-scratching. in terms of how they've lost it. Still even investing actually into this round, leaving himself at $1,000 because of the CZ purchase. Economy management just not being on point right now. Neki's is gonna find Yell, but he's quickly returned on as Zand has his back covered. An easy round for INTZ. Well then, it's kind of hard to figure out what you can expect to see out of Luminosity at this stage, because they're giving you a lot of different looks, both good and bad.
Yeah, it really is a mixed bag with these guys right now. And we're going the distance in this best of 3 in this map. Wouldn't even write overtime off at this stage.
Would be fitting though. Started it off with a close map on Mirage, and why not close it out the same fashion?
So what do these two teams have in store? Are Luminosity going to go aggressive again? They've got double AWPs. 3 MP9s.
Yeah. I mean, this is pretty close to the force buy that they had. Again, it's going to be Phelps on the AWP. He hasn't found his rhythm on the CT side so far here on overpass. And, well, to put it simply, he needs to in this one.
As they've dipped down to MP9s, though, it affords them more grenades.
Okay, you don't want to go back into that peak, Nekis. You saw an AWP.
They definitely don't. Smoke's decent, though. And now fake as though he's going to the other side. Maybe draw out a couple of grenades.
Look at this, though. You've got Destiny moving up. This is the same thing that defeated Furia. Sole AWP defender. There's no idea. Like, and again, these setups have a timer on it. You can't pull this the entire time and expect everything to be okay. Destiny's gonna, he fumbled this actually last time versus Furia, but surely not the second time around.
Yeah, he's gonna learn it from his mistake. He shot too early last time. Make sure you get the impactful frag and then allow the rest of your team to force in 2 kills. The flank has worked a charm. Now the rest of INTZ need to make the most of it. Steel is still alive at the back of the site, but only an MP9. Yell takes him out. That flank has worked exquisitely, and INTZ are going to have a match point.
And they are. Luminosity just crumbling. I'm hating this double op setup from them. It's just not working out, and they're being so stubborn about bringing it back in for no good reason. I think we've seen Phelps have the op 4 or 5 times now without getting a single kill on it, not even being in a position where you can have that much impact. Now you follow that up with, again, like if you have an op over towards that B bomb site, at least you can take chances in terms of, and if you want to do the same kind of peak that Nekis did with an MP9, why wouldn't you set yourself up with an op to do something similarly, to see if you can get an early pick? It just seems like a pretty easy decision to make. Instead, they keep holding it passively. They overstack a site. Again, I mean, Henny can't be at fault for this, right? Like, he's tasked with a pretty much impossible situation. Please hold the entirety of one side of the map.
And also guess if they're going long or short, and you know, be a super mobile AWPer, which doesn't even make sense in the first place. Like, the issue with having double AWPs in a map like Overpass is you lose a lot of your versatility.
Yeah.
If they go a different way to you're expecting, you can't just quickly appear with the M4. You have to play according to the AWPs.
Yeah.
That's a rough Molotov.
Luminosity needs all the help they can get at this point. Yeah, he's not even going to drop the op over to Henny. He's definitely much more of a good time with the op than Phelps has had. And look at this again. It's just barren over on that A-bomb site. Henny's still the sole defender on that side. He's tucked away in a corner for now. Steel going to rotate over to help him, but this is not a strong A defense by any means. Phelps, once again, just down in water, hasn't found a single person doing this the 3 times he's attempted something. So at a certain point, you kind of have to give up on this idea. You have to be more proactive. You have to need to look other places. Steel nearly gets that opening onto Cello.
It's the downside of having the MP9. It would have been a kill. Had it been an AUG or an M4.
Well, they have created the rotation, though. all 4 players on the side of Luminosity up on towards that A bomb site. It looks like they want to make a step back towards the B area of the map. Let's see how quickly Luminosity can get a whiff of that. And if INTZ are actually committing to this, they're trying to sell a double fake here.
They are. And is this a case of going too much, Van? Is this a case of trying to be too clever?
This is overcomplicating
15 seconds left, and the bomb is still nowhere near a site. It needs to go straight to A. 1 kill could finalize this, but no one's there from Luminosity. They've bit down on this hard. They've all gone across to the B side. It's going to be a plant, and it should be enough to yield the map and the match.
Oh man, yeah, they got they got played on that one. The fact that Zan picks up 2 frags to boot just makes the situation all that much worse. There's no utility. There is diffuse kits on both players, but are they actually going to prevent anyone from shooting at them? And yeah, Kenji is going to find Phelps, and that is it. INTZ looking to secure their playoff spot. Okay, then, Bolts.
He's got a kit as well.
He needs to hold it.
Is Zan going to peek? Yes, he will. INTZ have done it. They've come back, and they're going to claim this best of 3 and book their slot in the playoffs.
Man, talk about having the resiliency to just continuously come back again and again and again. Poke is loving it.
I love it, man. Look at him. That's how much it means to these guys, and why the hell not?
That's the way it should be as well. And I mean, you can't say that it's not deserved either. I mean, for all the mistakes that Luminosity made and so on, that's part of the game. It's up to, again, INTZ to actually take advantage of it the entirety of the way, and they do so. And they don't lose faith in themselves either. They've been in so many rocky spots. Been pretty much, well, faced with either map losses or eliminations or just, yeah, rough situations from start to finish, and they're constantly pulling through. So super impressive job by the Brazilians.
To come back from a 16-3 dismantling on your choice of map,
yeah,
to win the best of 3, mad props.
Oh, absolutely.
A lot of respect.
Absolutely. And the way they do it as well, again, they've learned, like, once they go over to the double op setups, they start learning, like, okay, they're only playing Henny as the sole defender over towards B. We can, over towards A, we can take advantage of this. They do so repeatedly. Destiny getting a second chance, you know, at redemption, and it makes full advantage of it as well. Yeah, I'm super impressed by INTZ. A little bit disappointed by how Luminosity ended the series because, for the better part of it, been positively surprised by what they've been able to showcase in such a short period of time.
Yeah, the double ops were a bit of a head scratch towards the end. They tried maybe 2 or 3 times too many.
About it. Yeah, yeah. At a certain point, you kind of have to figure out, like, either the way they are playing, the T side is playing, it's not working out. You know, they're not giving up picks that easily. It's not something we can work with, or you know, we have to do something differently. But they kept going back to the same, you know, recipe for, I guess, failure in this case, time and time again. And it's a bit of a saddening way to see them kind of peter out towards the end of it, but that's life sometimes.
For sure, but on the other side, we do have some victors, and Smix has an interview for us on the stage.
Okay. Thank you very much, as always. Congratulations. You guys are moving on in first place out of this group. When I talked to you earlier, I had mentioned that your team was considered the underdogs in this group, and to move on in first place, it's so clear. It means so much to you guys, but tell us how it really feels.
I cannot describe it with words. We're really happy. We worked a lot in those 6 months that we are together for this moment. Our dreams is to be at a major, to play a major, and it means a lot to us to win and get out of the groups in the first place.
For sure, and now you've secured that spot in the playoffs, but I need to talk about this series because it was such an interesting series. Let's start off with Mirage because it was really interesting. The first half we saw Phelps have a really great first half, and then even in the second half they were ahead 13-7. So just talk about that game and how you guys were able to come back.
I feel like we're like a comeback team. We never give up, and we tried so hard on Mirage and Overpass. On Train, we tried everything. We tried to like swap roles and stuff, but didn't work. And we just tried to reset to Overpass, and that was it, pretty much.
And speaking of being a comeback team, it was the same thing on overpass because even though it was such a close game, still you guys were behind in the scoreline almost the entire time until the very end. So walk us through that game and at one point, why you think you guys were able to come out on top at the very end.
I think I'm not the best one to talk about this, but I think I read them well in the end of the second half, and I don't know. Everybody played great. Everybody kept the composure, and we never give up. And then we won.
Yeah, we certainly saw that with this victory, and now you guys get to take the entire tomorrow to rest and practice as much as you want. Out of the games from today, what are the biggest takeaways, and what do you think you and the team are going to be working on specifically?
On my part, our train will need to get a little bit of a rework because our train is our best map by far, but Angus LG, nothing was working. So I don't know, I'll have to review the demo and see what is our weak points and try to fix for the next playoff game.
Well, that sounds great. Best of luck, and use that rest tomorrow. We'll see you in 2 days, but for now, congratulations. Let's head back to the boys at the desk.
Now, I'm just going to clarify this for 1 second. Yell, he seems to be fine, but maybe the other players from Apoca screaming and shouting at them so much here, guys. That is one passionate, crazy coach when it comes to it. I was worried from serious ear damage for these players after that.
He was like, I love you so much. I love you. You look great today.
Please don't hurt me.
When
That kid,
KG got that clutch,
that
dude.
was so
Yeah.
funny. He's like, he literally sits down here and he goes, Jazz! It's completely nuts. I love it.
He's happy. Yeah, I
love it.
want
If
more
every
of that.
team was like INTZ, I think everybody in this room would be a millionaire. You know what I mean? We'd all be profiting. Let's get more yelling.
Oh man, that was great. I actually, good call on Yell actually managed it when the Stu asked the question of like on the overpass one, and he goes, I'm not really, he wasn't sure what he wanted to say, but he said, I think I read them quite well, and honestly, yes, you did. You actually nailed that side, especially the T side. Quite well, I'd say. I mean, they started off a little bit rough. You lost the first, you lost pistol again. You won, I think, the third one, and then it goes into a diffuse. I think Luminosity wins that one, and after that, INTZ ends up hitting B three times in a row. They lose the middle one, I think. But just the fact that Yell actually makes this call of like, they seem pretty weak on B. Let's just walk in and let's try it again. And it's 3 times in a row, and then after that, it's a swap into A, right? And this one, the last round that we see, I think it's from Destiny. Because they've done such a remarkable job the whole half in like making sure Luminosity really doesn't know it's the end of the second half. Because they've done such a good job in not really giving Luminosity a whole lot of space. That last round when Destiny was literally running A long, flanking, that's one of the plays you can actually make because Luminosity is forced to rotate into B.
Catching them off guard, catching them unaware. He did it against Fury, and this time it actually paid off quite massively for them. There was a chance that Luminosity had this to pull it away, but like they were saying, INTZ, they seem to be able to bounce back and come back in a pretty significant way.
That is a big storyline for them, and I think it's probably a combination of just maybe they don't have enough talent to get there right off the bat every time. They're not a tier 1 team, but they do a great job of adapting on the fly.
100%.
You can see the progression as the map goes along. You can see the halves improve as the half goes along. And it's funny because they do it on both halves, so it's almost consistent in that sense. They start off slow in the first half. They start off slow again in the second half. They allow comebacks to happen if they're in the lead, and then they have to come back themselves if they're not in the lead.
There we go. He's going crazy again.
Yeah.
That last round, by the way, is nuts.
Yes.
15-14. It's
Honestly,
series point,
I'm
and
not a fan of the call.
I'm not a fan either because you have a lot of control already to begin with. Like
Yeah,
you're almost throwing that
exactly.
round away when you're not making a decision based on the information you have. So you decide on like, oh, now we're messed up because now we're screwed. 20 seconds later.
If both your B fakers die, you lose the round when you had 4v3.
Yeah.
And you also, if you walk the entire time, you could have just gone A in the first place, which you spent like 40 seconds walking towards. So,
but this is where you
ruined
talk
it.
about like genius and whatnot, right? Like maybe that was the plan all along.
Well,
everything
we've
worked out.
seen actually what happens when INTZ late fake like that and they
versus
mess up.
Fury on them,
on Mirage.
Yeah,
they
on
did
Mirage,
the
they
exact
lost
same
the round.
thing and looked very bad. So that's always possible.
I don't think Bolts had 400 ADR that map.
No, this is for the total, just to make
I
you
don't think he
aware.
had 400 ADR. No, I think overall, I think just to talk about Luminosity a little bit, I think I'm really impressed here too. I think 16-14 versus a team, same thing last map. We were talking about it. We thought this was somewhat could be a potential to be a wash.
Yeah.
Right, a potential 2-0 We saw
for sure was.
Right, and we saw Luminosity and Mirage initially. We're like, oh wow, okay, this is actually going pretty well. And then switching over to their CT side, it wasn't great. And then Train, Luminosity, I mean, completely brand new team, right? At this point, just really well played. And then switching over to overpass. I mean, this is definitely something you can work on. 16-14, you know, you're out of this tournament, but you weren't supposed to be here to begin with. I would be happy with this.
And that's why we're saying about Luminosity, right, is the CTs take a little bit more work and they get communication back with the limited practice they've had. T-side, we started to see things that are promising with it, but I think it goes back to what I said Zach was saying. He's got all the pieces he wants here, and it's clearly showing that they can be competitive with it.
100%.
100%.
100%. We're done.
Couldn't have put it better.
But we are actually done now. For the Americas, we're over. We're going to Europe next, guys. It was a nice, easy, simple day. Oh yeah, we got it. He's remembering for us to get this throw off the go. So I got to do this in style as Lawrence just thrown me to it. Boom, we're ready. And the camera's got to switch.
Wait,
and it doesn't switch.
Come on, man.
Come on, we waited all day for this.
This is just not working.
we wanted it.
No, don't do this. You're too heavy, man. You're way too heavy for this shit. I'm out of here.
That's it. We're done. The Americas is over. It's game over for everyone here. These guys have lost their mind. I'm now on my own on the desk. But next up is Europe, and we will see you later.
You're lighter than I thought.
Change arrangement.
Charge up your game with excitement. Highest odds on the market. Coverage of all live and pre-match events. Place your bets with Solid Bookmaker and win with your favorite teams. Take what's rightfully yours with GG.bet.
Predict the outcome, win the game. Get live coverage and schedules for your favorite tournaments. Analyze, predict, and vote to gain points. Compete with other esports fans and climb the leaderboards. Strafe, everything esports. Download now on iOS and Android.
How much time does it take to reload an AK-47?
3 seconds?
Close, 2.5. Which pistol from CS 1.6 was replaced by the P250 in CSGO?
I didn't play 1.6, so I have no idea.
P228. What are the colors of the balloons on Overpass?
The blues?
The balloons.
The balloons. Red, blue, and yellow.
Yes. Name the only player from Lithuania who has participated in a major.
I don't even know the flag. Esperanto?
Quick. When he was on the Windstrike team. Okay. Which weapon is the loudest in CSGO?
Loudest. Negev.
Zeus. Name a competitive map with an old version which was located in Germany but's now in the United States.
Who wrote those questions? Give me a second.
You've only got 60 seconds? No. Nuke.
Damn.
Name the only...
I don't even play Nuke.
This is it. This is the very heart of Berlin, at least in my eyes, the heart of Berlin. We're here at the Mercedes-Platz. This can be reached by everything. Bus, tram, foot, even by water. We can see the ferries that take you here. This is a prime location where we'll be having the major. And guys, you will not want to miss it. It also sits on the River Spree as well, which gives you just beautiful scenery all around here. The Challenger stage of the major will take place in the Verti Music Hall, and the most anticipated part of the tournament, the playoffs,